loud.
Welcome. You're now listening to It's Just a Show podcast. Controversial.
Yo, did she really say that?
No, I think she did.
Entertaining, innovative, real, and raw. Hold on tight. Here's your host, the one and only, Hustle Queen Lee.
Yo, what's good, everybody? This is your girl, Hustle Queen Lee, coming to give you my review of last night's episode of Tyler Perry's House of Payne, episodes 5 and 6. And just like I did the last time, I'm going to combine both episodes because, you know, that's what we got to do for these Tyler Perry shows. It just is what it is. All right, so let's get into episode 5. But before I do that, I just want to thank everybody for commenting and listening to the review I did last week. I greatly appreciated it. Thank you guys for your continued support. So let's get into episode 5. So episode 5 opens up with Ella and Jasmine sitting on the couch at Ella and Curtis's house. So initially I was like, this scene just looked like it's going to drag. I just felt it in my spirit that it was going to drag. And just like you guys, I found out that I was correct. Now, Jasmine and Ella are trying to have a private conversation. And of course, Curtis just keeps popping up at the wrong damn time. Every time it seems like Jasmine is about to come out and tell Ella what she really wanted to say or what she wanted to express, here comes Curtis. In addition to them dragging the hell out of their dialogue, which is not their fault. We have Tyler Perry to thank for that. So it's obvious that Jasmine is hella nervous about exposing whatever it is she needs to say to her aunt at this time. So they decide to simultaneously or in unison blurt out what Jasmine wants to say and what Ella believes that Jasmine wants to say. So Ella blurts out that she believes Jasmine is ready for marriage. And I was like, in what world? In what world has Jasmine shown any attributes that she's ready for marriage? So Jasmine reveals that she is thinking about having sex. After Jasmine exposes or reveals her truth, Ella gets up and goes into the kitchen as if she can't handle Jasmine's truth. Now, so I'm going to stop right there for a moment. So I do appreciate the fact that Jasmine felt comfortable with Ella to let her guard down and be honest about her feelings and her thoughts concerning sex. However, I strongly disliked Ella's response. However, what Ella did was a real thing. It was a legit response. So often we allow people to feel comfortable in our space, then in the next breath condemn or dismiss their feelings about whatever it is that they want to talk to us about after we told them that you could talk to me about anything. I'm here for you. We will totally disregard what they're saying if it doesn't appease or line up with our moral compass or our personal values. And I was like, yeah, I ain't like that. So we see them move to the kitchen. So while Ella and Jasmine's conversation at the kitchen, even though I could appreciate it, it was still problematic for me. Yet it was truly expected from the makeup of Ella's character. Now, this is my disclosure. So I'm going to go on and say this before I get to what I have to say. There is, and I'm being so serious, there is nothing wrong with waiting to have sex. There is absolutely nothing wrong with waiting. It is a beautiful thing if that's what you decide is best for you. It's nothing wrong with that. It is to be commended. It is to be applauded, because living in a world where we are so sexually driven, where a lot of Black women are just over sexualized in movies and in TV shows, I can appreciate the fact that we see a character who is contemplating sex and she's trying to, go about it in what she feels is the right way as far as getting wisdom and wise counsel. So I do understand that. Okay, so now that I'm done with that, I also want to clarify that there is nothing wrong or abnormal about your significant other wanting to have sex with you, wanting to experience you in a sexual manner. There's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. Even if you feel like you're not ready to have sex, there is nothing wrong with you having the desire to want to have sex. And I also felt that that particular scene could have been so incredibly powerful if it wasn't overshadowed with Curtis's just his non-need to be in the scene at that time, because oftentimes, and we have to, expose this part of the show too, is that the Paynes are a Christian-based family. And there's nothing wrong with that if that is your belief system. However, a lot of times in the Christian household or in the Christian community, we kind of give blanketed statements, and I included myself in that because I do consider myself a believer, and we give blanketed statements without actually giving people things and tools that they can apply to their life. We'll just say, don't have sex. If he ain't trying to wait for you, let him go. He's no good. Or vice versa, because it's some men out there who actually practice abstinence, and it's like, well, if she trying to pressure you, leave her alone, or she is explaining to you how much she wants to have sex with you, obviously she doesn't respect your boundaries. And I don't personally believe that. I feel like having conversations about sex, about our sexuality is important. And we're in 2020, yet sex is still such a taboo topic to talk about, even in the midst of a relationship. And I never understood that concept when you want someone to feel comfortable with you, when you want someone to understand the reason that you're waiting. Because some people do wait for religious reasons. Some people wait because it is a personal decision of theirs where, you know what, I'm not a virgin, but I do plan on waiting until I get married to have sex and so on and so forth. So even in the conversation, as Ella is explaining to Jasmine the importance of waiting and the importance of abstinence, Jasmine flat out told her, like, what if I ain't trying to do that, though? So she's already said, hey, I'm thinking about having sex. I know I'm not waiting until I get married to have sex. So at that point, what do I do? So there should have been a shift. There should have been a shift in the conversation at that point. Like, I understand Ella's desire to promote abstinence and waiting. However, Jasmine, who is an adult, who is a grown-ass woman, just told you that's not her plan. So if Ella wasn't the one, or she couldn't handle an adult conversation with Jasmine about practicing or the practices of safe sex, then she should have sent Jasmine to talk to her mom. And just for me, I'm still trying to figure out, I'm having a difficult time trying to figure out why Jasmine felt more comfortable talking to Ella about sex than Janine, because Janine is like the cool mom. And but I understand, because even though she's the cool mom, she's still the mom. And I know, it's kind of like, I don't want my mom looking at me like that, thinking about me in that way, and she gonna think I'm nasty. And these are just thoughts that flowed through my mind at that time when I felt I was ready to have sex. Even though my mom was cool, it's still like, but that's still my mom, no. And she has created a space of comfortability, yet I don't know if I'm ready. Because like when I had sex before I told my mom. So it's like, I could understand, but I didn't have any aunts that I would have gone to talk about my desire to want to have sex. I just didn't do that. So that's kind of how it was with the Jasmine and Ella. Then Ella started crying like, Lord, let her wait. I'm like, where the hell these tears came from? I was so thrown off with that. But hey, it is what it is. She asked Jasmine, you gonna talk to your mama? She was like, yeah, I'm gonna get around to that. And so Curtis, Jesus. So I really want to discuss this because in the beginning, Curtis kept coming in and Curtis's character used to be funny. Even in the old episodes, I did feel at times Curtis went over the top with a lot of things that he did and a lot of things that he expressed verbally. This particular season, I find Curtis to be downright disrespectful. I find him to be annoying. His character to me is no longer humorous. He's degrading and rude, and that's how I see him now. And it's like, I don't really care for Curtis's character anymore. Just how when he was, Ella is trying to talk to Jasmine, he's talking about where's his food, he hungry, and Ella and Curtis truly represent like an old school, old-fashioned couple. They are couples who I have seen. They represent couples that I even have in my family, and even as a child, I never understood why certain people did certain things, and I'm like, brother, you get up and fix your food. You get up and do this. Don't you see she doing something? So I connected with Ella and Curtis in that scene, but he was just still rude. And Jasmine was like, I don't want anything like you two. Like, I don't want to, because what I see, it doesn't look like respect. Ella tried to break it down and say, well, Curtis is the head of the household, Christian based principle. Curtis is the head of the household. I love that man. She was like, you do? And I'm like, I feel you, Jasmine, because she goes over the top, even with Ella. Like, Ella's like, hey, Curtis, you got one more time. Say something again. You got one more time. Oh, you're not going to do it? Oh, he locked her out the house on the first episode. He didn't even get up and open the door for her. She didn't have her key. He didn't get up. And I'm just like, wow, just that dynamic alone, I believe a lot of things that we saw our grandparents do and some of the older couples in our family, it's toxic. A lot of people don't want to call it out because that's just how he is or that's just how she is, but it's toxic. And so that's what I saw with Ella and Curtis. And forgive me, if you guys want a step-by-step thing or a synopsis of the episode. It's really hard to do that the way Tyler Perry wrote this first episode 5, because a lot of things just didn't happen. It was more so just conversation that could be, it could be summed up in a minute, but I really want to discuss some of the things that we see and some of the things that do affect a lot of people. If you were raised in a Christian-based family, if you were raised in a strict household, the man is the head of the house. That's what we're taught. And I don't have a problem with that. But people tend to, especially for those who grew up in church and you grew up in a religious household, especially with Christianity, they love saying that the man is the head of the household, and people believe that means the man run everything, the man makes all the decisions, everything got to go through him, and that's not what that means. But people love to do that, but people love to leave out this scripture here, which is Ephesians 5:25, and it says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. We don't bring that up. It says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. It ain't a lot of that going on in Christian-based household. Trust me. I have seen some stuff, and that ain't going on, but you want to be considered the head of the household, and that's kind of how I see Curtis. Like, yeah, Curtis provided for his family, yes, but Curtis really exhibited, to me, toxic behavior as far as a father is concerned and as far as a husband is concerned. So that's really all I have for episode 5. Episode 6, I felt, was a whole lot better than episode 5. It was more transitions going on. Episode 6 opens up with we're at Janine and CJ's house, and they're in the kitchen. It's like, how can you not love them? They look so beautiful together. Like, I really enjoy Demetria McKinney and Alan Payne's portrayal. I know I said that last time. You might hear me say that at every review because I really do love them. I really do love the way that they portray these characters, and they're just so cute together. They have a really great on-screen dynamic that I absolutely adore and love. I told my mom, I said, honestly, Tyler Perry could have made a spinoff with Janine and CJ and their kids. Like, Ella and Curtis could be additions. I just don't like when their characters, Ella and Curtis, are most so the lead in the episode, because I don't believe they're strong enough actors to pull that off. It's boring watching them the majority of the time. So that's how I personally feel about it. So we see that Calvin comes over. Oh, God. Okay, let's pause. So Lance Gross, a.k.a. Calvin, when he walked in with that butterscotch brown, whatever you want to call it, color trench, that coat he had on, I was like, that man is gorgeous. Lance Gross is gorgeous. He's beautiful. That is just a fine piece of chocolate delight. I just had to throw that out there. But now I'm back to House of Payne, episode 6. So when he comes in, we find out that he and Miranda have a court hearing. Basically, they're still going through their divorce. And I'm like, what the hell is taking so long for this divorce to be final? Because this has been going on for a long time. So, he forgets his wallet. So CJ tells him, I'll pick you up, because CJ is accompanying him to court. So CJ asks Janine, is she talking to Miranda? Because Calvin does not want the family talking to her. Stop. Let me stop. I hate that. I hate that when you're done with someone, you expect your family not to communicate. And this is the thing. Calvin, you have a son with her. That's Ella and Curtis's grandson. That's Janine and CJ's nephew. And those are the kids' cousin. So why would you want to create separation? Why would you want to create division with Miranda? Because they have to communicate with Miranda if they want to get Christian when it's not you. So I didn't like that. I didn't like that part at all. So it was like a little cute moment with CJ and Janine because she was like, you can't even keep a secret because she actually does continue to have a relationship with Miranda, but she didn't want to say anything because CJ can't keep his mouth closed. So he talked about, well, I didn't say nothing the first time we got together. And she was like, but you cried like a baby. He was like, yeah, you put that thing on me, girl. So I just think that thing is just so cute. So we see Malik. Jasmine wasn't in this episode. So we see Malik, and he's trying to study, and there's all these distractions going on with the twins. We still ain't heard the twins talk. They ain't said nothing yet, so hopefully we get to hear their voices on this season. Now I do remember years ago that Jaden was diagnosed with autism, so I don't know if that is a part of the dynamic with him on the show. I don't know because there's certain things Tyler still has not revealed to us. So maybe, hopefully, those things will come out and we'll know what's going on. But right now, they're just the twins. They just stand there and look cute. They don't say anything. They don't even really have a storyline for them other than, Malik was told to take them to school. That was pretty much it. So when CJ leaves to take Calvin to court when Miranda unexpectedly stops by, and Janine has Malik to take the twins to school. So when Miranda comes in, she's very emotional. She's crying. She's like, I don't even know why I'm here. And, she was talking about like just what she's experiencing with this divorce from Calvin. And so I feel like Janine was asking her some really good questions because she was like, basically what you are experiencing, like, do you even want to continue with your divorce? Now, before I get to that, let me pause. So Malik tells Janine and CJ that he has no intentions on getting married. And this is just based on his own personal experiences of what he's witnessed in his family and the latest thing with Calvin and Miranda. Because basically he doesn't understand what's taking so long because Calvin really doesn't have anything. What is Miranda trying to get out of him? And he was just like, this the reason, like, y'all can miss me with marriage. I'm not with that. Y'all can have that. And his reasoning was he believes that married couples are really not happy. They pretend to be happy, and that's not what he wants. So Janine quickly responds, and she was like, me and your father are happy. Ain't that right, baby? Yeah, baby, we happy. It was like, yeah, we're happy. And so they kept going back and forth, and CJ was like, nah, you for real, you happy because this thing just came out of nowhere. And she was like, yeah, I'm happy. Malik, he always trying to start something. And then when CJ closed the door, she was like, we're happy. I think, like that, like this little dude and came and put this seed of doubt. Now, I'm not going to say doubt because I don't think it was that strong. But sometimes someone's perspective can make you start looking at your situation a little different. But I was like, Janine, don't do that. You and CJ in a good place. Y'all look happy. Y'all got 4 beautiful children. Y'all in y'all space where y'all just doing y'all. Y'all look great at doing y'all. So let Malik, old crusty behind, who got a baby on the way, got to move in with y'all. His opinion don't matter right now. Okay, so back to Miranda and Janine. So Janine was like, are you sure that you want to, go on with this divorce proceeding? And, Miranda's like, like Calvin has become who she wanted him to be when they were married. And I was like, girl, I understand that because I have one, I have an ex now, and I look at him, I'm like, dude, where was this when I was with you? You ain't had no money. Sometimes, all right, you had money sometimes. You had ambition, he had all that, but it was like, but I'm not jealous about it, and I don't want him. But when I look at it, and it's all about maturity and evolution and elevation and the things that you found to be needed or desired at 21 is not what you want at 37 or 36 or whatever. Your values change, your outlook on life change because you experience life and it shapes your mindset and your viewpoint. But I understood, I understood where she was coming from. Like, what was the reason you couldn't be this person for me? And I got that. I got what Miranda was trying to say. I really did. So so Miranda basically says it's not that like, he has this great job. He's doing all of this, and basically I did not get this version of Calvin. And she basically just said, it was challenging to be married to Calvin. And the thing is, she's not lying. Now, Miranda, I'm not Miranda's biggest fan. I'm not Miranda's biggest fan. However, I cannot negate the fact that she went through a lot while she was married to Calvin. The first thing we got to understand was like, okay, boom, you kiss another woman. he kissed Mercedes, the neighbor at the time, his parents' next door neighbor at the time. You kissed her. Tracy pops up with this unexpected child. Now, that wasn't his fault because he didn't know. But still, yet, you and your wife are having difficulty conceiving. And now to find out that you have a child by another woman, that was something. When Calvin got shot, Calvin became an asshole. And we not going to act like he didn't. Calvin was an asshole. Calvin treated Miranda horribly at times. He got addicted to pills. He was lying. He lied about who shot him. When the memory came back and he found out who shot him, he didn't want to tell nobody. So it was like she went through a lot. She was the only one working. They had to move in with his family, his parents. Calvin took money out of their account and went to the strip club. Like, he basically wiped out their stuff. So I'm not going to sit up here and act like Miranda is at fault for everything. It was very challenging to be married to Calvin at that time. He was disrespectful. He was rude to her. They went through a time where Miranda was really catching hell from Calvin. Now, toward the end, Calvin was trying to make up. He was really doing what he had to do to be a good father to his children, to be a great husband to Miranda. Now, I didn't appreciate how Miranda did him on the anniversary. You could tell when episode first came on, the last episode, of season 8. So go back years. Miranda wasn't happy about their anniversary. Miranda wasn't excited. She showed nothing. Janine talked to her about, like, hey, what's going on? You just seem like you in another place. So they all waiting for Miranda to show up to their anniversary dinner. Miranda is at the house packing up his clothes. It's not funny, but I'm like, the audacity of this woman. This is what you did. You didn't want to talk it out with Calvin. You told him you were leaving him and you wanted a divorce on your anniversary. Who does that? Who does that? I'm like, my God, Miranda, he wasn't that bad. Now, he was getting his stuff together. If you had already clocked out, you should have just told him. Now, back to last night's episode. So, we find out that Miranda was saying that basically, it's the child support and Calvin is fighting her every step of the way. She says that Calvin makes $128,000 a year and he gives her $1,000 a month in child support. However, I'm sure that Calvin provides financially for Christian in other areas as well. So the fact that he just gives you the $1,000 for child support, I'm sure there are other things that he's doing when he has the baby. I'm sure he buys him clothes. I'm sure he does. So the financial burden of having this child is not just on Miranda. When Janine said that Miranda makes way more money than Calvin, I was like, well, damn. How much money you making, sis? How much money? Because if he making $128 yearly and someone says you make way more money than him, how much money are you making? That $1,000 is an issue for you with child support. And so that solidified to me that this thing with how she's feeling regarding Calvin, how she's feeling regarding that $1,000, it has nothing to do with that. It is deeper than what Miranda is saying. Now, I do believe that they are going to get divorced. Ain't no love there. Don't try to reconcile. I believe that divorce will be finalized however they come to an understanding. That's what I believe is going to happen with Calvin and Miranda. But I'm like, dog, sis, how much you pulling? And then let's not forget Calvin has a whole nother child too. So if he dishing out $24,000 a year in child support, in addition to what what else do you want? Like, what do you want him to do? That's how I feel. Now, I'm not a mother, so I can't really say certain things, but I know there are parents out there with multiple kids who are not even getting $1,000 from these dads out here. So Calvin and Miranda seems to be now in a great place financially. So I was just like you tripping off $1,000, sis? Like, I don't understand that. But like I said, I'm not a parent. I'm not a mother who has been in that situation. So I don't have any personal experience with that. So now we get to the next scene. The next scene, we are at Ella and Curtis' house. Not much was happening there in that scene. Calvin didn't stay too long before he left to go home. However, Janine asked to speak to Ella privately. So she was basically trying to convince Ella to talk to Miranda. And so Ella was like, I'm not trying to get in the middle of this. I'm not trying to. And so she was like, please, Miss Ella, you got the Holy Ghost. It's just your spirit that's needed. She just need to talk to somebody. And so Ella was like, well, what's wrong with you? Where your Holy Ghost at? She was like, I got it, but it ain't as strong as yours. And so she finally convinces Ella to agree to talk to Miranda. And Janine was like, great, because she in the backyard. You know what I'm saying? So it was like they had like a little cute moment. And then Janine started singing Amazing Grace. And that's how the episode ended. And so overall, I don't know what's going on. It seemed like when the episode that comes on at 8 o'clock seems to drag, seems to just be like, ugh. The episodes that come on at 8:30 seems to be better. I don't know if anyone else senses that. I feel like the episodes that come on at 8:30 are better than the ones that come on at 8. And maybe it's because it's Ella and Curtis. I just don't prefer to see them on camera too much, like where they're leading, like as I stated earlier. So that's how I felt about it. I felt that the episodes were better than last week. I do really enjoy China McClain's portrayal of Jasmine. She's one of the best things on the show. You know, I look forward to CJ and Janine and Jasmine. CJ's little family, like their whole thing. I look forward to that. I don't know what they can do to make Ella and Kurt. They need to really address Curtis's just rudeness, because I don't care how old you are, and there are times that we do, and I have done it. The older people in our lives, sometimes they tend to still look at us as children, and you have to make it known that I'm an adult. You may have been an adult longer than I have. However, I'm still an adult, and I still have opinions and mindsets that are not conditioned because of how you feel. We feel differently. We can look at the same thing, and I can see a 7, and you can see a 4. So it's like we're looking at the same thing, but we have different perspectives, and I'm willing to hear your perspective. Now, if you're not able to change my mind, don't be mad at me. I just feel strongly about what I feel strongly about. So that conversation with Ella and Jasmine, I really hope that it opened up dialogue for some people to communicate with their parent or whomever who may be in that place of, I'm having sex, I want to stop having sex. I just don't feel like I need to be doing that right now. Or I haven't had sex and I'm ready. I know that I'm ready to do this. You know, it may not ever be a perfect time to start having sex. That's why you talk to people, That's why you get advice. That's why you get wise counsel. But just please be mindful about who you're taking advice from. You know what I'm saying? You take in the advice, you weigh it against your own thoughts and your own values, and then come up with your own conclusion. That's how I really feel about that. So that was my review, recap, opinions of Tyler Perry's House of Payne, episode 5 and 6. I look forward to, reading y'all comments. Thank you guys, like I said earlier, for commenting on the video review last week. I appreciate you guys. Someone asked me why I went to where it's like a little standstill picture and not people able to see me do the reviews. It's because it's a lot easier. I record the vocals and I just put the picture on top of it. So it's easier that way for me to do it. When you do it the other way, you got to set up your camera. You're like, I ain't got time for that right now. Not right now. But I'll get back to that with maybe some other stuff. But right now, this is the way that I'm doing it. So I appreciate you guys for listening. Make sure you put your comments down in the comment section. I'm gonna look forward to hearing from you guys. And y'all know how I do. I will holler at y'all later. One.